Hi everyone, my name's Charlie and I've helped over 150 people win their PIP claims and I received PIP myself. Today I want to clarify what is not an aid. So I recently worked with codename, when I work with clients I give them a codename exacerbating summer and too rare to die. And what I realised was I haven't done a video on what is not an aid. I've done videos on what aids are and how to evidence it, but not what is not. So you could be submitting evidence that is just pointless and a waste of time and doesn't help your case. So first of all, we're going to check the government, the DWP's procedures to clarify what they class as an aid. Then I'm going to show you some things that are not an aid. So if you're thinking, actually, Charlie, I'm not sure what is an aid, I'm just going to show you on the YouTube channel so you can watch a video on what is. So if you go onto the YouTube channel, you can look at this video, Accepted Aids for a Successful PIP Application. It's a bit of a tongue twister, that title, wasn't it? I nearly didn't get it out. So watch that video because that's really helpful. But again, today we're focused on what's not an aid. And also, I don't want you to think that there is points for using an aid. I don't think, well, if I go out and buy an aid, then I get 2 points and I'll get PIP. It doesn't work like that. They will check the severity of your medical condition to see if actually you're at the point where you actually need that aid. So any of you that are thinking that are probably not entitled to PIP, so you shouldn't be on my channel. That's my polite version, because normally I just tell them to fuck off, don't I? But I thought it'd be like polite today. Right, so let's look at the government stuff. So this is the POSH assessment guide. You can get access to this, it's available. There's so much crap in here though, so as far as the DWP are concerned, an aid or appliance is a device which improve, provide or replace our ability to complete something. I'm not using the word in here because I'm not finding this helpful. For example, a walking stick. So if someone's using a walking stick all the time, they wouldn't be able to walk without their walking stick. That is an aid. They're only interested in aids that relate to the points. If you're not familiar with this, what these points are, you need to watch a lot more of my guides as you go through the PIP process, okay? Or before you even start, preferably. Right, this is the government points. This is what they assess you on. They are only interested in aids that help you with preparing food, taking nutrition, which is eating, managing therapy, which is like your pill pots, washing and bathing, your bath chairs, toilet needs, pads, any assist, no, sorry, we're talking about aids, yeah. Pads, for your self-catheterizing, dressing and undressing, like the sock aids, a little stool, those big long things where you can hook and pull your trousers up. Communicating, so that's only a hearing aid if the hearing aid means once it's removed you cannot hear, right, basically. Or like Stephen Hawking's, you know, the buttons to push to chat, yeah. Reading and understanding, so if you're dyslexic and you've got the colour overlays, or you've got an eye injury or something, so you're using a whopping big magnifying glass. By the way, this isn't exhaustive, so that's why you need to watch the other video, yeah? Mixing with people, there's no aids in there. Budgeting, no aids. Planning a journey. The assistance dog, or an orientation aid. The orientation aid is if you're blind, like the stick, yeah? I'm sure there's a posher word for that. Moving around is Zimmer frame, walking stick, wheelchair, something like that. I think that's much it. Again, that's not exhaustive. So something that helps you complete that daily activity. Like you wouldn't be able to get off the toilet the majority of the time. You wouldn't be able to get off the... God, what is happening? Try again. Like, for example, the toilet, where if you've got the frame around the toilet, the majority of the time you wouldn't be able to get up off the toilet if you didn't have the frame. That's an aid. So this is the bit that is just backing up what I'm saying, that they will clarify it if you use it the bulk of the time. Remember SCAR, the line, are we safe, consistent, and reliable? Are you having to use it over 50% of the time? Yeah. Most of us are using aids, which tends to be like most of the time, right? Do we rely on it? Exactly what I said, yeah. So what is not an aid? And again, this list isn't exhaustive, but it's to like help keep you on track, all right? So anything to do with work, like for example, I have these because of hand plane, the ergodynamics of my chair, if you've got rising desks, stuff like that. Now, that is interesting for them to know. They will ask, if you're working, they will ask you on your assessment questions of, well, how are you managing that? You could talk about that then. There is no section in PIP about work. You don't need to cover it in the form. Leave that for the assessment. Okay. So anything to do with work stuff or like admin, not interested. Okay. This is going to sound awful because I understand that there are many things out there that really help. Okay. For example, acupuncture for pain relief, right? I tried it in the past for my jaw joints. It cost me over £1,000, so I couldn't maintain it. This is when I was in my 30s. I'm like 48 now. It really did work for pain relief. Not interested. Okay, which so like the acupressure, like those sort of mattressy things that you can lie on. Not interested. Not an aid. They're not interested in sleep. Anything to do with sleep. Not interested. If you got your Darth Vader mask on for your it is totally falling out of my head. Sleep apnea. If you've got that on, people have said to me, but it's an aid. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but there's nothing in PIP about sleep. Okay, so I just move on from that. Okay. Things like dehumidifiers, air purifiers, even if you've got severe asthma, it's not an aid from a PIP point of view. Okay. Again, it's something that we use to complete daily activities, the daily activities that they are interested in. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's like, yeah, but it helps you overall. They don't care. They just don't care. So we've got to cut the crap. Okay. Back scratches, they're not interested. That's like a comfort thing. They're not interested. Yes, there's a lot of us that can't twist. If that's the case, they're interested in how do you clean yourself after a bowel movement, not can you scratch your back. They're not interested. You know the grabbery things, the long things to grab if you drop stuff? I've had a few clients that use those, and I've looked quite a few times, but there isn't really a section to put it in unless you're using them to grab trousers or a skirt or something to then hoik it up to over your knees to then grab it with your hands. Like, so for example, if you've got severe COPD or degenerative disc disease, so bending forward is a problem for you, so you use a grabbery thing, then it would be relevant in dressing, undressing. If it's just something you use for everyday stuff, they're not interested. All the massage guns, the heat pads, not interested. Weighted blankets, not interested. Again, sleep is not covered in PIP, even though most of us with chronic illness struggle with sleep and it totally fucks with our lives. They don't care. Okay, they just don't. So, and it's not like, I don't want you to feel frustrated that they don't care about that, because the way they've laid out the activities, I think is really good. It really works. This system does work and they will eventually treat you fairly as long as you don't give up and you communicate in a way that works for them and evidence it. Okay. I don't agree with the hell they put us through. PIP shouldn't scar us. I don't agree with that, but don't feel frustrated about the areas they're not covering. Like they don't cover brain fog. They don't understand brain fog. We need to just accept it and focus on the areas they do understand. Things like earplugs or the ear, like, why do I want to say muffins? My brain fog's not, we're near the end of the video. I want to keep going. The only time, I'm going to say ear defenders because I'm thinking of like the Navy and the aircraft. You know what I mean, right? The only time they'd be interested in that, I would say, in my experience so far, is for individuals that are autistic. The sound is a real problem for them. If you're not in that category, then I don't think they're going to be interested. So I just wouldn't waste your time on it. Focus on the areas they are interested in. This will just be the final one. And again, it's not exhaustive, but it's, sorry, God, my brain's really struggling, isn't it? I think I need to go to bed. You know, when you can just tell that your body's like, you're done. I feel like I'm done. Pillows. Doesn't matter whether it's you're on the sofa, in your wheelchair, in bed, they don't care about pillows. They just don't. Don't waste your time on it. Okay. So I hope this helps you cut crap even more so you can focus on the important bits. Okay. And just because they don't care about those things, if they help you, obviously keep using them. Yeah. But just don't waste their time and your time.